Welcome to this video on how to stop IRS collection action by filling out a form. The form you're going to want to fill out here is the form 12153. You can see it's highlighted. Whoops. See it's highlighted right there. And also any government forms, they're listed down there in the bottom right. So the strength of this form is that it stops collection action. So you're going to fill out this form once you've received this form, which is a letter 1058. Okay, now this form's been redacted here, but usually all this information here is going to be filled out. So it'll have the date, the last four digits of the taxpayer ID. So if it's your social, the last four. If it's a business, the EIN, it'll be the last four of that EIN. Contact telephone number, the person to contact the IRS agent, their number, their fax number, their employee ID number. And if a notice of federal tax lien has not already been filed, it's probably going to be filed here in pretty short order. And once that gets filed, you're going to get this, which is a letter 3172. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and fill this out, the form 12153. The main difference between a collection due process or an equivalent hearing is that your rights. Okay. So on a collection due process, you fill that out within 30 days and you can go all the way to tax court. On an equivalent hearing, this form has to be filled out and submitted within a year. So one's 30 days and one's 12 months. Okay. So you're going to fill this form out, you're just going to check both of these. And in case you're after the 30 days, you're just going to go ahead and click that just to cover yourself. And here, put your name. Let's just say John Doe. Your social, so just make one up here. Current address, we'll go with, I don't know, 123 Maple Street. City, state, New York, whatever. And then best telephone number to get a hold of you at. Chances are in this day and age, it's going to be a cell phone. So you put that, give them the cell phone. The time, AM or PM, you want to give them a window here. That's fine. Let's say 9 to 12. Let's say you want to talk to them when no one's around. So maybe a lunch hour is a good time. I don't know, 12 to 1. Now, if this is a joint liability, you and your spouse will both get a 1058. Okay. And with this, and it'll list the liabilities down here. So the years, the numbers, the 1040s. So that's income. That's a personal. And you're going to get copies of these as well. Also not listed here is a pub 1. So you get the publication 1, which is your rights as a taxpayer, the publication 594, which is the IRS collection process, and the publication 1660, so collection appeal rights. So anyway, going back here to the 1058, you're going to need the 1058, which is final notice, notice of intent to levy, and notice of your rights to a hearing. So you're going to need the 1058 and the 3172 to fill out the form 12153. So the 3172 is for the lien. 1058 is for the levy, which is where they go in and issue levies to your bank account. The bank gets frozen. Bank account's frozen for 21 days unless levy release is issued by the IRS agent. Chances are that's not going to happen though. But they can't issue any levies if a 1058 goes out and you get this 12153 in before the 30 days like you should, then no levy should go out in the first place because they can't take collection action on this until 45 days after this has been sent out. So that means on the 46th day, they can go ahead and issue levies. So if you receive this letter and you send it out immediately, no levy should ever go out. So that's the power of this form 12153. Okay. And also you'll receive this letter once the lien's filed. Okay. Now there are certain circumstances on when the lien cannot be filed, and I'll go into that in another video. But just for the purposes of this video, we're trying to prevent your bank accounts from being frozen So as soon as you get this 1058, and you may get multiple, okay? You may get multiple 1058s. You may get a 1058 for 2016, and then a couple weeks later, 17 and 18, as the liabilities start hitting, if you have multiple liabilities. Every time you get a letter 1058, you want to fill out a 12153 and go ahead and fax it in to the IRS agent who sent this to you, okay? Like I always say, the best way to deal with the IRS is to actually deal with the IRS. They're not going away. So, but you can deal with them within, it's a bureaucracy. You just navigate the bureaucracy. My videos are designed to help you do that so that you can, this is a resolution for everybody, okay? The IRS agent is going to mail all these forms to you. So you're going to get the forms and you go ahead and fax it back to them. You can send a certified return receipt, but that's going to be a lot more expensive. And if you just fax it, you're going to get the same result. Just keep the confirmation fax of what was sent. That's all. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and fill this out. Um, put your spouse in here. If it's a married filing joint return, put that in here. Best time to get a hold of her or him, depending on what's going on there. And then the type of tax. So in here, we'll just say income. Okay. Form number, it's 1040. We saw it right here. It's Form 1040. Tax period was 2016. So you can just put 2016. If you have multiple years, you can put 2017, 2018, so on and so forth. Okay. Then you're going to go down here and explain why you're requesting the hearing. Now, for most people, it's going to be that you can't afford to pay the 60, 50, 70,000, whatever it is, 10,000, 20,000, whatever that amount is. You can't pay it in full and you would like a collection alternative. Okay. Well, what is a collection alternative? That's the next box. Chances are it's going to be an installment agreement, which is a payment plan. Maybe you can't pay, and that would be currently unable to pay. You can request an offer in compromise, but to be honest with you, I've been doing this for decades, and an offer in compromise, it's like a unicorn. I've heard of them, I've just never seen one. Okay. For most people, it is going to be currently unable to pay or the installment agreement. Now, as far as both the currently unable to pay and the installment agreement, the IRS agent has to adhere to the allowable expenses. There's an allowable expense calculator that goes by zip code that was set forth by Congress. And they have to adhere to that. They don't have a lot of wiggle room. They do have some. An example would be, let's say, for example, someone has a medication that they need, like it's a life necessary medication. And for example, that medication's $500. Well, if the allowable expenses say that for your zip code, you can't go over $150 for healthcare, the IRS agent is not going to let someone, they're not going to not allow that. They're going to allow the $500, but you're going to have to substantiate that. You can't just say, yeah, well, I have this medication. It costs $500 a month. And trust me, you know, they'll allow it if you give them proof of it. Same thing, let's say, for example, court ordered payments. They're going to allow the court ordered payments. However, you're going to have provide proof of that. Okay. And again, this will be in another video, but that's going to be in the 433A, how to complete the 433A, the 433B. You're going to have to pull together bank statements, paycheck stubs, things of this nature. But in the interest of just getting this in, you see here, you're going to have to do the 433A and the 433B, but you just get this filled out, sign it and date it, and then go ahead and fax it in to the IRS agent right here. Their fax number is going to be right there. You'll fax it in, save the fax confirmation receipt, and then start working on your 430. Start pulling together your documents. 433A if it's an individual, 433B if it's a business, substantiating documentation. So those medications, like I talked about, court ordered payments, alimony, child support, rent, you know, car, auto leases, auto loans, mortgage, statements, things that prove your expenses, and the bank statements and the paycheck stubs, so they can see how much is going in, how much is going out, compared against the allowable expenses set forth by Congress. And then once this goes in, no levies should go out. No new levies should go out. Maybe levies went out. No new levies should go out. Okay. And then someone's going to contact you. Another IRS employee is going to contact you and say, okay, let's work this out. And so that's basically the life cycle of this. But the power of this form is that if you're within, whether it's 12 months here for an equivalency hearing, or whether it's in 30 days for a collection due process hearing, and you submit this form along with the supporting documentation, it's going to cease collection action. Not indefinitely, but it will cease collection action. And it's like I always say, the best way to deal with the IRS is to actually deal with the IRS. They're not going anywhere. But this buys you time. First of all, your bank accounts won't get frozen, so you're not up in the middle of the night worrying about whether or not they're going to come in and take the money out. They can't. And if they do, there's going to be an issue. They shouldn't do that. Get this in, start pulling together your documents, and then work towards getting on that installment agreement or that payment plan, and then stick to it. I appreciate you watching this video. If you think this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up so it could help anyone else that's kind of going through this right now. And in future videos, I will go over how to correctly fill out a 433A and a 433B and the allowable expenses, and how to get yourself on an installment agreement or a payment plan, and also, how to prevent a notice of federal tax lien from being filed if you're within the parameters of that. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching.